Hello, I'm Richard. This is Over and Over and Over Again. We're live, and this is the Newcastle versus Arsenal pre-match warm-up show. Hello, good evening. It's Friday, it's 8 o'clock, and this is Over and Over and Over Again, and this is the latest in the warm-up shows. This is obviously the pre-Newcastle versus Arsenal match warm-up show. I've got some special guests joining me. We've got a few things to talk about, obviously, including very, very briefly, I'll have to say, our rather disappointing game last night as well, plus a load of other stuff, and obviously looking ahead to the game on Sunday, which we have actually got a Premier League game on Sunday, which is nice, isn't it? Because no one seems to be bothered about it. And on our side, I think that it may be a little bit more important to the guys at Newcastle, but we'll find out very soon anyway. So joining me tonight to be involved in the show, of course, as usual, he's a resident panellist on the channel. It is, of course, Melvyn. How you doing, Melvyn? You all right?
Yeah, good, thanks. I mean, this is more exciting than the game, isn't it? I really enjoy this. I think I watched this on Sunday instead of the game. Reread this.
I must admit, it's becoming more exciting doing these shows than when I'm watching the game in a minute. Anyway, I'm sure Sunday will be a totally different story, of course. And joining us as well, it's his debut on the channel. Actually, it is a Newcastle fan. He's from the enemy this weekend. It's Barry. How you doing, mate? You right?
I'm good, Paul. How are you?
Yeah, not bad at all. Not bad at all. Good. Looking forward to the show.
Good to see you.
Looking forward to the game. So what I wanted to really do was, before we kind of sort of start with the show, obviously you're new to the channel, Bazza, so just give us a little introduction about yourself, really, your history of maybe Newcastle, when it all started for you, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, definitely. It's 30 years ago, probably to the day, maybe, I don't know. I can't really remember my first game. My dad took me out. Only thing I remember is Mick Quinn scored, and that was it. I was literally starstruck. This was Newcastle United, because I used to go to Whitley Bay matches first. It was obviously a tiny ground, but it was just getting used to live football. And then my dad went, right, we want to Newcastle. And he knew something was happening because Oscar Delis was in charge, and then Kevin Keegan took over when I was there. It was just, the football we played was exceptional at that time. And, what kid living in Whitley Bay, just down the road from Newcastle, could, the only one club in our city, it just fell in love with it, basically. It's as simple as that. Black and white, bleed it.
Probably a good time as well to have started as well. It must have been exciting times then at Newcastle.
Well, we had over our head, we had the relegation potentially when Oscar Delis was there. And it was, I reckon we went to about 4 or 5 games, and then Keegan took over, and then the excitement took over. And that season when we won the League One Championship, what it is now, we played some breathtaking stuff. Keegan convinced Rob Lee to come and join us, and John Beresford and players like that, and we just absolutely hammered everyone almost. It was very exciting, and finished 6th the first time, first time round in the Premier League it was, with Andy Cole, Peter Beardsley, number 8. Greatest player ever to wear that shirt in my eyes.
No, I mean, it was a great Newcastle side. I mean, I can remember seeing, obviously, coming down to Highbury a few times. You did. I was up at St James's a few times in them years, and great Newcastle team, great football. And you should have maybe won the Premier League a couple of times, shouldn't you, really?
Once, definitely. The other times we finished second a couple of times, but we were miles behind. I know there was one of them when Dalglish was in charge, when he took over from Keegan. But he just played the Keegan side and Keegan way. But that year when we blew that 13-point lead to Manchester United, still hurts now. It really does.
Yeah, let's
not talk about that.
No, we all wanted you to beat them to the title anyway, so we were all disappointed as well. I'm sure not probably.
That's horrible.
Yeah,
I remember against Liverpool.
The Liverpool
game, the Blackburn game. All those games you should have won.
Horrible. Yeah, Graham Fenton was a local lad as well, and he scored 2 past were. Celebrated like he meant it as well, the cheeky swine.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and then there was Forest as well. We drew 1-1. West Ham, we drew 1-1 at home. We just threw points away, and Man United kept on winning 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. It was a bit like the Arsenal of old.
Do you think, Barry, you think that Osprina, who was a fantastic footballer, do you think they unbalanced the team a bit when they signed him?
Not at all, no. I mean, he won us a game when he came off the bench, didn't he, against Middlesbrough? We were 1-0 down, and we were looked down and out. And then he came on, turned the game, and we won 2-1. And, you know, he was the World Player of the Year just the season before.
Yeah, he was very good player.
Like that. He is. I just think Keegan didn't have the technical nous to be able to win that league at that point. I think the players froze a bit, thinking if we do keep going forward, we're going to lose games. And I just think everyone got a bit tense. And that was just how it happened, really. And that's why you saw the games being 1-0 defeats, 1-1 draws, you know, things like that. We just seem to have found the knack of not winning 3-4, 1-4-2, 4-3 like we used to do. It was just one of those things.
The pressure probably as well, isn't it? Towards the end of the season, the pressure's on, isn't it? And that's when you have to be able to grind out the result, which obviously that year, Man United, as you said, winning 1-0, that's what you have to do, don't you? That comes from experience.
They beat us 1-0 at St James's Park. Cantona scored. We hit the bar. We absolutely peppered Peter Schmeichel, greatest goalkeeper ever to play in the Premier League. And he single-handedly won them the title on that evening, because if we'd beaten them, we would have won it. But they went away from St James's Park with 3 points, closed the gap, and the rest is history.
Yeah, no, it was obviously, it must have been a great time to be a Newcastle fan anyway, though, to see the football.
It was
fantastic, wasn't it?
I would take those 13-point losses every season right now. It hurts, but watching that football, I would rather watch that and not win a title than watch the stuff we're watching now. So
I definitely understand how you feel, because we're in a similar situation from witnessing great football not so long ago to witnessing the dross that we're having to suffer at the moment, which kind of brings me on briefly to that game last night, Melvyn. I haven't spoken to you since that the result and the performance last night. I mean, it was. Did you watch the game yourself, Baz? Did you watch Arsenal last night? Did you catch any of it?
I didn't, unfortunately. I didn't get to watch any football. I went to bed early because I was on a 12-hour shift today, getting up at 5 in the morning. So I saw the score. I saw the score for the Man United game. They were 2-1 down. I had a dream that they got beat 6-4 and they ended up winning 6-4. I was like, what the hell's going on here? It was 6-2 they won. I was like, Jesus. Yeah.
No,
You're still in it. This is the thing that gives me hope for Sunday. You're still in the tie.
No, we are still in it. We didn't deserve to be in it. I mean, what did you make of that, Melvyn? I know, it wasn't the greatest performance from Arsenal, was it, in such a big game? I mean, the first half in particular, that was dreadful, wasn't it?
I think the fraud squad have been called in, and we got a result out of that. It's like a win last night, wasn't it, losing 2-1? Because at 2-0, we were out completely, down to 10 men, out completely. Didn't look like we were going anywhere near them. Once we had our man sent off, we seemed to buck our ideas up. But that first half performance, you thought it was a pre-season friendly the way we played. All the bad habits came back. And it's not as if it's happened once in the blue moon. This happens every 2 out of every 3 games now. We don't, teams sometimes don't have to really try that hard to score against us. There's no urgency. And I'll be honest, I spoke to you before. I was actually half watching the game. I didn't when you watch a football game, you've got to concentrate, haven't you? I wasn't even concentrating. It was like listening to music in the background of the game. I was really, really fed up. I thought, I've already put up the white flag. I don't know what to do next. What do you do after you put the white flag up? There's nothing left, is there? I thought they were, first of all, I've never known, I'm digging a manager out here. I'm doing it more and more each week, and I wanted to back him. I still want to back him, but I'm losing my patience. You're playing a very, very, very important game. And you play with not a fullback in the team when you've got 2 fit fullbacks on the bench. That's number 1. Number 2, when I saw the team who was playing, I thought, Pepe in the middle up front. That sounds all right, because I've always fancied him to have a go there, because if he gets in the box, they can't tackle him. They can't lunge at him. I thought, that's all right.
Yeah.
But then after about 20 minutes, I said to the boys, why is he hugging the touchline if he's supposed to be playing up front? someone said, well, no, he's got a free roll. So he ain't got a free roll. You don't get a free roll if you're hugging the left. He's actually, don't you realise, he's actually playing on the left. We haven't got a centre forward. We have not got. So I just like threw my hands in the air and thought, no, I just don't get it. I just do not get it. And as I say, the fraud squad ought to be going around to the old Emirates today and have taken a few names, because we were we didn't deserve that at all. Number one, I don't think it was a penalty. That's number one.
No, it wasn't.
But all right, you accept it. It wasn't a penalty, but we'll take it. All right, very, very poor decision by the referee. And I thought, we didn't look like we were going anywhere. And they looked like they'd never met each other before. I mean, some of it, I know they've done, some of them, a lot of them have played together, obviously. But if you keep changing the team around, you're not going to get any fluidity. You've got to have keep the same 8 or 9 players, if you can, obviously, every week, so you get understanding. They don't know each other better than they did a year ago. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again, I don't believe Arteta knows his best 11. If they're all fit and they're all playing well, he would not know who to pick. And we haven't gone forward, we have gone backwards. And I just, as I say, I want him to do well. I want him to do well, but I'm losing patience now. I think I've lost my. I think that's it for me now. I really do. Yeah, irrespective of Thursday, and if we get through against United, whatever, I think I've seen enough now. I think the jury's not out with me anymore. I think the old black cat's gone on top.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Terry's in the chat. He says, "Hi, how you doing, Terry? Thanks for watching." And Shane as well. He was just on the two of you actually in the chat. I was on that channel with Paul and Pete as well. He said, we have to thanks Sabaya for getting sent off. If he didn't, we would have lost 3 or 4-0. We certainly played better. We play a lot better after that, to be fair. And it maybe did us a bit of a favour. And it's done us a big favour because it means he can't play next week either, which is even better. So it's done us a favour in 2 respects there. In fact, Shane made a good point actually earlier, Melvyn, on the other show. What he said was that he could predict Newcastle's starting 11 for Sunday a lot more easily than he could predict ours. And that's a good point, because I feel exactly the same. I could probably predict Newcastle starting 11 for Sunday and probably get 9 of them right, possibly, maybe even all of them right, potentially. And with Arsenal's, I'll get any right, maybe 2 or 3 if we're lucky. And that just goes to show, doesn't it? We can predict other teams' lineups, how they're going to line up, but we can't predict our own team.
I've never yet got anywhere near Arteta's lineup. I've got 9 out of 11 on a very good week. I've got more chance of winning the lottery to get his lineup.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I know sometimes other fans of other clubs, I know they complain about maybe the manager doesn't make enough changes, but at least you can predict the team lineup. You know where you are. You know what to expect. With Arsenal, you just haven't got a clue. Absolutely haven't got a clue from week to week, game to game. And we'll come on to it a bit later. Obviously, the team for Sunday. I mean, I haven't got to tell you what. I haven't got a clue what our team will be. Could be anybody could play it. Just haven't got a clue. But anyway, we will come on to that. I did want to move on actually, because it's something that's obviously been quite big news over the last couple of weeks in particular. Obviously, club owners now. Obviously, Arsenal and Newcastle are in a position where we've both got owners that are not the right people to be in charge of our clubs. I think we all accept that. But I don't think it's just as simple as just that, is it? I mean, first of all, obviously, from your point of view, I know you guys have been wanting Ashley out of your club for as long as I can remember.
Yes.
Yeah. You're still there. How can fans get rid of an owner? Because we'd like to know, because that's what we're trying to do.
Tell me as well. We still got ours on for 14 years. We've been waiting to get rid of them. I've put out there a lot of times a massive clear out boycott of the stadium. He uses it as an advertisement holding. And if he went to a game, saw that there was only 5,000 sitting in a 52,000 seater stadium, all the Sky cameras were there, he would panic. And people will always say to me, well, he's already got your money, he's not going to panic. It's like season ticket sales are nothing to him, but having an atmosphere and people in the ground with Sky cameras there to flash off his advertising boards, that's what he wants. So if we all stop, going to the games and buying the stuff that's in the stadiums, buying his merchandise, he will take note. But it's impossible to organise. Unless you're a really strong fan base that's all together, you're not going to get 45,000 people to walk away. And that's why we've been stuck with them for so long, in my eyes.
Yeah, no, I agree. it's so difficult because there'll always be fans that won't want to not go because of how important it is to them individually, and you can understand that. I mean, we've all been down football for a long time, haven't we? And we've probably this last year when we've not been able to go, you realise how much of a big part of your life it is going to football, and to give it up, we haven't given it up intentionally. It's been sort of forced on us, really. But to actually make that decision yourself to give up going. And yes, it's for the greater good of the club in the long run, I guess, and that's probably a good enough reason. But it's hard to do that, isn't it? It's hard to organise. I mean, we had a big protest on last Friday ahead of the game that we had against Everton, and it was well attended and it went well. But the owners don't care about that today. They don't care about a protest outside the ground, like you said. They care about how it directly affects them, and the only way it affects them is if it affects them financially. Even then, I don't know if they're that bothered, are they particularly? I mean, I can only apologise. I bought some football boots from Sports Direct. So I must be honest, they were cheap. So and I think a lot of people do, don't they? But that's the way it is, isn't it? I guess. It's a tough one, isn't it? I mean, I was thinking earlier. I had this conversation a bit earlier on, actually, that I don't like our owners. I think that their interests are in the American team that they own, and not in Arsenal at all. They're not interested in Arsenal, but they're not to blame for a lot of the problems that we've got. They didn't pick Arteta as manager. They don't pick the team. They don't pick the players. They didn't buy the players, and just because you might get one owner out that you don't like, it doesn't necessarily mean that the next owner who comes in is going to be any better. I mean, how can you know that? I mean, I know you had the Saudi sort of takeover, didn't you, which didn't end up happening in the end. It got kind of rejected by the Premier League. I mean, do you think that would have been the answer to all your problems?
I do, yeah, because of the actual massive clout they had behind them. If you totaled up every single Premier League club's finances, double it, that's how much they were worth. You add all those Premier League clubs together and times it by 2, they had that kind of money. It would have been exceptional. How much? What could have happened.
No, I understand that, but the Kroenkes who own Arsenal are worth billions. But yeah, that doesn't make them good owners just because they've got a lot of money.
No, I get that, but they were getting involved around the area as well, though. They've donated money to the Newcastle Food Bank, which is incredible. They were looking for infrastructure. They were looking to plough money into it to help the area. There was so much more they were willing to do. And I think they would have brought back Rafa to do it as well. And I really do believe they are still the answer to our prayers. If we don't get a takeover and it's not them, again, we could be looking at another Ashley in my eyes. So we want the Saudis. And I know there's this political stuff, but Anthony Joshua is fighting Tyson Fury. Where's he fighting him? In Saudi Arabia money. But why is there no uproar? Why is there nothing in the papers about this? Why is this person coming out whose husband was apparently assassinated by them saying, well, we don't want Tyson Fury and Joshua fighting over there because of all this? No, it's only when it's Newcastle. It always seems to be an agenda against us because we're all the way up in the north. No one cares how far away we're that far away. We should be in the Scottish League. We might do better.
I mean, did you think that'll ever happen in that Saudi takeover, or do you think that's dead now?
There's got to be something still bubbling. There's the arbitration to go through. If we win that, which is looking quite likely, there's a very good chance the takeover could still happen. Premier League survival was key, and I think we're safe now. I really do. I don't think Fulham can catch us. 8 points is enough in my eyes, and I still think we've got another 7 points in us. And I think it's bubbling away in the background. Yeah, starting 3 on Sunday, 3 against Sheffield United, and a point against Fulham on the last day of the season. There's my predictions.
Bazza? Sorry, Bazza. What was the reason for Saudi Arabia? I know they've got a human rights issue. Don't get me wrong. I realise that. But is that the reason why, the human rights issue?
No, but that's what was brought up in the newspapers, wasn't it? It was all about, Saudi money coming in and all these human rights and this and that. We don't want them in the Premier League and da-da-da. But the Premier League itself vetoed it apparently because they didn't know who was actually going to own the club. So obviously PIF are a big entity. There's a lot of people put the money into it. It's a state-owned money. So someone has to actually have their physical name on it. And the Premier League was saying that all that information wasn't provided. PIF have said they did provide it. So this is why it's going to arbitration, because someone's lying and it needs to come out.
It's quite funny. It's not exactly the same, but, the Premier League want to be all high and mighty. But we're sending our footballers over there to Qatar, where they have slaves building the stadiums. So it's just a nonsense. The whole thing's a nonsense.
And apparently there's a lot of information to come out all about this Super League. I know we probably might not talk about it tonight, but apparently Richard Masters might have known about it before it actually happened. And if it did happen, he was actually going to be leaving the Premier League to join them as well. So if that comes out, he's in big trouble.
Wow.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, I mean, already the kind of the chief executives at all those 6 clubs have been forced to resign, haven't they, from the Premier League committee? So
5 out of 6.
Is it 5 out of 6? Is it?
Have resigned. There's still one sitting in his perch, isn't there? Just down the road from you lot.
Oh, is that true? Right. I know. Obviously,
yeah, Danny Levy's still there, isn't he?
He's still there. Yeah, he's still there.
Oh, well, there you go.
Is that name gone then, Richard?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday. Oh, right. Yeah. So obviously there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, all that Super League stuff that will come out. Hopefully, eventually, we'll find out what's going on. But it's not. At the end of the day, it wasn't just suddenly thrown on everybody, was it? On that Sunday evening, it wasn't. It had been planned for years, and a lot more people were involved in the planning of it than have been kind of named already. It's obvious, isn't it? You know, it wasn't just these 12 clubs in Europe that knew about it. There's a lot more people behind the scenes as well, and I'm sure there's going to be more to come on that anyway over the next few months and in a few years. And I suppose, I mean, you look at the new format of the Champions League actually, and that's basically the Super League under a different name anyway, isn't it? When the way that's been restructured for 2024, so they've kind of got a Super League anyway in a different way. And no one seems bothered about that one particularly. But anyway, I mean, if you're in it, you're going to be happy, I suppose. But I guess that's the way it is. Terry's in the chat there says, hi, Richard, Melvyn, and Bazza. I see people's minds haven't changed since yesterday, apart from the disappointment on Richard's face. Yeah, no, I was pretty upset last night, I must be honest, but I've kind of got over it now. Seeing these guys on the channel.
Oh, now you know how we feel.
At least I only have to put up it once every so often, I suppose. And Shane says to Baz, he said, did you fill your stadium in the Championship? Match day sales and parachute payments probably helped, Ashley. You know that they probably did. Would you get in crowds in the Championship?
Yeah, I think 45,000 was our average through the whole season. So we still, obviously Rafa was there, wasn't he? We all knew what he wanted. We all knew what the area wanted. We knew he was the man to lead us back into the Premier League, and we all followed him. And when he left, that was me. I haven't been back since Rafa left. That was my turning point, and I took my stand by not going back. But now lockdown and not being able to see friends and that, it's like, I want to go back to my church.
Yeah, no, it's like I said, when it's forced on you, it feels worse than if you make that decision for yourself, doesn't it? In some ways, and that's what we all have to suffer, haven't we, last year? Joe's in the chat as well. How are you doing, Joe? Thanks for tuning in as well. I mean, I know that the owners, we can't get rid of him. I mean, Melvyn, obviously, from our point of view, what have you been making of this Spotify dude? Do you think he would be a potentially good owner should that ever happen?
I don't know too much about him, but I don't think, I've probably said it before, but I think that if the guy, I'm sure he's genuine, but if you're going to do things the right way, you don't blast your mouth out of it. You do it quietly, behind closed doors, and you don't seem to get, it seems if he is genuine, perhaps he wanted to get the fans on his side. That doesn't make any difference to our owners. They only understand cash if they want to sell. So
can I say one thing on that? That rings alarm bells to me, what you've just said there, that apparently this guy who wants to buy you is shouting his mouth off. Guess who did that as well? Mike Ashley. 14 years ago, he went to the newspapers, I'm going to buy Ronaldinho, I'm doing this, I'm going to do that before he bought the club, and we've seen none of it. So be wary.
No, I mean, I'm always wary anyway. I think that, one owner to another owner, just because you change doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be better. It's difficult. How do you know? I mean, I think we would all deep down like a Roman Abramovich type owner who's going to invest in the team and doesn't care and wants to win your trophies and, make the club successful. And if we all had one of them, we'd be happy. But just because we get rid of one owner doesn't mean the next owner is going to be like that. And someone who's successful in business, generally, they're successful in business because they're clever with their money and they don't waste it on stuff they don't need to. And it's a balancing act. So I feel a little bit kind of in a bit of a dilemma with it, really, because I know the Cronkies aren't right, but sometimes, what you get might end up being worse than what you had. And, we've kind of seen that maybe with Wenger leaving. Everyone wanted Wenger to leave and he's left and what mess we're in now. And just because the Cronkies might well go. And I don't think they're the right people to take the club forward because they don't care. doesn't necessarily mean someone who comes in just because they're rich is the right people necessarily. So, but we'll see what happens. I mean, that's we don't really control that. They'll sell if they feel like selling, if it's right for their business. If they get the right offer, they might well sell at some point. And let's hope that happens and we get good owners. And let's hope Mike Ashley sells your club as well at some point, and that takeover does happen. And it'll be happy days all round maybe. And maybe back to the days, Arsenal, Newcastle in the top 2 or 3 in the league again. That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
That'd be really nice.
You never know one day. I mean, kind of moving on to that. I mean, I wanted to kind of look at the form of the two clubs actually, which seems to have kind of spun round a little bit. You couldn't get a win at all for ages, for months. Struggling down the bottom of the league. And I remember at one point actually early in the season, you were actually above us because you'd had a reasonably decent start. We were on a terrible run, and obviously things turned around at that point. And then you were struggling, and we're still in this, not further up than we were, but at least our results have improved slightly. They did, and now you're on a great run, aren't you? I mean, I'm guessing the injuries have helped, haven't they? Is that the main reason for the turnaround, do you think, the players that you got back fit again?
Definitely. ASM, if we keep a hold of him for next season, I will be over the moon, because without him, we don't win football matches, and the stats prove that. And also the stats prove without Wilson, we don't win football matches very rarely, because he's the one who scores the goals. So having them two back, I mean, it showed you in the Burnley game, they came on and within 5 minutes we're 1-0 down to be winning 2-1. And then we managed to hold on to get the 3 points. So getting them two back was crucial to our season. I mean, you saw how bad we were against Brighton. If you watched the game, it was absolutely
that was shocking. That was a disgrace.
It was literally just down tools from the first minute. That was horrible to watch. And I thought that was it. We were down after that. I didn't see us coming back. And
I thought
like you say, we got those. Yeah, I think,
you made
Dunk.
I remember watching that game. You made Dunk look like the greatest midfielder, though he's centre half in the world. He had so much time on the ball. He could have had a cup of tea every time he got the ball. A little bit away to the crowd and then passed it. You didn't make one challenge that game, and I thought, I spoke to Paul. It was not Paul. I spoke to John afterwards and said that was disgraceful. He had to agree. It was shocking. It was absolutely shocking, that game. It was like the white flag went up before kickoff.
Yeah. I think the players wanted to get Bruce sacked after that game. They thought if they got beat and got beat comfortably, that would Mike Ashley force his hand to say, right, Bruce, you're out the door. And because it didn't, I think the players have then realised, gone, well, we could be playing in the Championship next season. We're not going to get rid of them. So let's book our ideas up and, try and get some results, which is what happened in my eyes.
Yeah, I mean, that obviously was the low point of the season, wasn't it, that Brighton game? And since then, you haven't lost, actually. Is it 5 games unbeaten? And you've beaten, West Ham was a brilliant result to beat West Ham. And you got a draw with Tottenham. Again, that's a decent result as well. And, you're on a good run of form, actually, which is not good from our perspective, because you've hit form at the wrong time for us, I suppose, because I'd like to have played you maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago when I'd have fancied our chances. But since then, we can't win a game and you can't lose a game. So it has really turned around, and it's been sort of strange to see, actually, because I've followed Newcastle quite a lot anyway, and so I've been aware of how badly you were playing before, and suddenly some of the recent results. I mean, what did you make of the game last week against Liverpool? Because I mean, Liverpool could have scored 4 or 5 goals, couldn't they? And then in the end, you maybe unlucky not to have won. That goal disallowed from Wilson was unfortunate, wasn't it?
Yeah, it should never have been disallowed. But to be honest with you, if that goal stood, I didn't see us scoring the next one anyway, because they were that close together. I think that would have been the end of the game.
True, yeah.
To be honest with you, the more likely Liverpool would have went down the other end and probably had a chance of maybe beating them if they had more time. So I'm just happy we got a point from that game. And we showed little flashes through the game. I mean, John Joe Shelby played a lovely ball through to Sean Longstaff, and he had a decent effort. Joe Linton had a decent chance. We did create a little bit, but you're right. If Liverpool had been out of sight at half time, it would have been white flag again. But somehow we stayed into the game, which is thanks to our amazing goalkeeper, Dubravka. I think he's one of the top Premier League goalkeepers. And without him, they would have been out of sight. So, yeah, it was, again, stealing a point like we did against Spurs second game of the season when we won that shoddy penalty. So, yeah, happy days.
Oh, it was the handball, wasn't it? The handball.
Yeah, where Andy Carroll headed the ball onto his hand, and that brought the change in the rules, didn't it? That's how lucky we got. But it was your man Willock who's really done the job for us. He's created 7 points out of the goals he scored for us this season since he's came. Unbelievable.
Why is he not getting a start then? Why is he not getting a start in the team? Because he's been on the bench, hasn't he, the last few weeks?
Yeah, this is what's frustrating a lot of our fans, is that he keeps picking Shelvey. And Shelvey, in our eyes, he's too much of an expansive player to have in our team because he's too slow. He doesn't get around the pitch. Yes, his Hollywood balls look great, and sometimes when they come off, they're amazing, but it's too far and few between. We would rather have Willock, who's got legs to get backwards and forwards for 90 minutes. But Bruce has got him as a super sub at the moment, hasn't he? And he won't drop Shelvey. That's the main reason why he's not starting.
Very strange. Very strange.
It's mental. But he won't drop the front three, you see, because you've got Wilson, Almiron and ASM. Them three are solid up top. So Willock has to sit in behind them. Now, Willock's best position is either where Almiron plays or where Shelvey plays. And then you have the defensive midfielder around him to cover a bit of ground for him. But he's not going to drop Shelvey. I like Almiron, and I would hate to see him dropped. But maybe that's his position potentially going forward. But he can't play against you guys, so it's a bit of a shame because he could have done a couple over you and shown you what you're missing.
No, exactly. Yeah, I'm sure he would have had a point to prove as well. Joe says, obviously, Joe Willock's been getting in the goals. Yes, he has. He's been getting quite a few lately. I think he's never actually, I think he scored one Premier League goal for Arsenal in his whole career, and he scored, 4 for Newcastle in the short time he's been there. So just goes to show, doesn't it, sometimes that, players work at some clubs and not others, maybe. And Gary's in the chat there. Good evening, Richard Melvyn. Bazza Ts, thank you, mate. Hope you're well. And Shane says, Mike Dean to ref the game. Yeah, he is on Sunday. Mike Dean. That's going to be fun. Although I did hear, actually, Arsenal haven't lost a game. Mike Dean's ref for quite a long time. We've got a decent record with him reffing recently, so that might not be a bad thing from our point of view. I mean, talking about Joe Willock, Melvyn, I mean, do you think that we might sell him in the summer, or do you think he can come back in? Because obviously now he's proved himself in the Premier League, which he didn't really do for Arsenal, has he? Do you think we're going to take him back, or do you think it might be better for him to move on? If
Arteta's still our manager next season, I think we ought to sell him because Arteta's not going to pick him.
No.
And it's a horrible thing to say, but I'm going to make this point now. Both our loanees to Premier Division clubs have improved a lot since they've moved. And I like a manager to get the best out of players. And Arteta hasn't got the best out of those players. It's quite the reverse. You've got, that, with all due respect, you've got Steve Bruce and Sam Allardyce, right? They're good managers, but they're not tip-top managers with due respect. And yet they've managed to get a decent, well, they've improved both players innumerably. Our manager hasn't. So there's a question mark up there. I don't think it's worth him coming back because I think he'll always be remembered or always be thought of, especially with Arteta there, as a reserve team stroke squad player. He'd never make it at Arsenal on that basis. I'm not saying I think he's the greatest. I think he's got to improve his game. And if he's done it with Newcastle, good luck to him. If he's learned a couple of things, they're brilliant. But for what I saw with us, he wasn't getting the time. And when he did, it just wasn't working for him. It may be that Newcastle, the way they play, and the manager they got at the moment, it might just suit him. And good luck to him. He always gave 100% for Arsenal, and he played with heart, and he wasn't frightened to try things. It didn't always come off. He wasn't frightened to try things. So I'd love to see him make it at Newcastle, or if Newcastle done it somewhere else. I don't think he's got. I personally don't think he's got a future at the Arsenal.
Just to counteract what you said as well, one of the things that we haven't seen is Willock in 90 minutes either ourselves. So Willock's come on and scored goals in little bit parts. Now he's given himself a bit of a hero's culture because the way he scored the goals, he's got us 7 points, which has kept us up. So everyone's thinking we've got a superstar in our hands, but we might not have because we've not seen him do it over 90 minutes consistently yet. He's got talent, he's got potential, but slapping a £25 million fee on him is going to scare us away. I think he's worth 16, to be honest with you, because the reasons Melvyn you came out with. And you've got to see him over 90 minutes, and we haven't seen that. So until I see that, I'm not getting carried away with him. I'm happy with what he's done, but I'm not going to say he's the next big thing for us because we've not seen it consistently ourselves. So you've got a very good point there.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I think he's had plenty of opportunities at Arsenal. He's played nearly 80 games for Arsenal across the different competitions, and I don't think he's ever really proved himself, like you said, consistently for Arsenal. He hasn't, and he's certainly doing well for Newcastle. And like you said, when he's come on, he's made an impact, and he never even really did that enough for Arsenal. He had a few good games in some of the Europa League games against lesser opposition, and in some of the cup games as well. But in the Premier League, he's never really been consistently good for Arsenal, and that could be the system and the manager, and maybe he would be able to do that in Newcastle under Steve Bruce or whoever. But it's going to be an interesting one to see what happens. Whether I suppose ultimately, does he want to leave Arsenal, or does he feel he can go back and have an impact there next season? I suppose that's going to come down to that as well, isn't it? A little bit, possibly. And do Arsenal want to sell him?
The other thing as well with Willock is, when he played for you guys,
20
was he getting in the box?
Has been mentioned, hasn't it? For
was he getting in the box?
Yeah, was he getting into the box and scoring the goals that he is for
against
us?
Lesser opposition, he was, Bazza, definitely. But against the big teams, he wasn't. He missed a very one big opportunity. He missed was in the Charity Shield against Liverpool. Where he did get in the box, and he missed an open goal with his head, which all he had to do was say good morning to. Right? I mean, he scored a great goal for you against West Ham. I've never seen him do anything like that. Never seen him attack a ball like that in the box. Against Liverpool, it was right on his head. As I say, just had to say good morning to him. It must go in. And I think it hit the back of his head or something. I don't know what it hit. But I don't. He's got legs. Don't get me wrong. He's got legs. But for me, my criticism of him is that his final ball, he lacked the final ball. He'd get into a position. He'd beat a couple of men. He'd push on. He'd go from say our halfway line to the edge of the box, and there'd be geezers either side of him, and he'd try and go on another beat the third man, and he'd invariably lose it. Yeah, I don't think he had the awareness around him. I don't think he's greedy. I just didn't think he had the awareness to know, hold on, if I give it to him, he's definitely on. That's what
I'm just thinking. Maybe it's because it's the Arsenal way that's why he was like that. But if I saw him bombing from the halfway line and got to an edge of the box, we'd be shouting, "Rob Lee, shoot!" That's how we see him. We see him as a player that likes to score goals, likes to get in the box, doesn't have that intricate little pass like a Peter Beardsley had. He's more of a Rob Lee. He's a box-to-box midfielder, and that's what we want to see for 90 minutes. And if we see that, I don't see him as an Arsenal player. I see him as a player who would do well for someone like Leicester or us or a West Ham, because they don't play the ball pretty around. They like to, attack as quickly as they can. So that's how I see him as a player.
Yeah, I mean that's probably about what he's like, really. It's just, I say, for me, he hasn't been able to produce it consistently enough in the Premier League for Arsenal in the time he's been there, and I do feel he's had enough chances to have proved it or not, and I don't think he's quite made it. So if we're willing to sell him, if he wants to go, then I think that would be a good move for him and for Newcastle, actually, because he seems to have settled there pretty well, and he's come out and said he's enjoyed playing there. So I think if that can be done, it could be a good move all round. If we can get 20 million for him, say, for example, that would be a decent deal, I think, for a player like Joe Willock, personally. It'd be a good deal all round. Joe said there's Danny Ceballos looking to go. Maybe Willock could stay, but we need to cash in some players just to spend. Yeah, no, we do. That's an interesting one, actually, because out of the two, actually, I would probably prefer Joe Willock to Danny Ceballos, if I'm honest.
And me, he's not a liability. For all I say is kind of small failings with it, he's not a liability. He'll give you 100%. He won't make silly mistakes. He might give the wrong ball and it won't cost you a goal. It might stop you maybe scoring a goal. But he ain't going to do what gives stupid free kicks away or mispass the ball, a header ball on someone running on a goal. I can't see that from Willock. But I would definitely out the two. But if you gave me the option, I'd take Willock as well. But there we go.
Yeah, no, I would as well. There's a comment here. Here we go. As Shane said, did Willock get comfortable at Arsenal? He sort of lacked drive for me. Maybe that was a factor, possibly. I don't know.
I don't think he got comfortable.
I don't think he played.
I think he's got a good heart. I think he's got a very good heart, Willem. I don't think he got comfortable. No, I don't think that's fair. No.
No, maybe not. But it hasn't quite worked for him, has it? For one reason or another, I guess. Really. So we'll see what happens. I personally think that could be a good deal for both clubs and the player as well. That could be over the summer. Before we just kind of get on to the game again, I just really wanted to. I mean, particularly you, Baz, you kind of look at some of your sort of favourite memories of games against Arsenal. Obviously, apart from the 4-4, which we don't want to talk about, but any other.
What do you mean? That's the only one? No, it's not. To be fair, I'll tell you about the 4-4 and how it happened for me. I was actually in a pub that was streaming it, and it was quite an expensive pub, and we were 4-0 down. So me and my best mate looked at each other and went, should we go down the road, chip a pints? We're losing 4-0. We're not coming back from this. So we said, yeah, go on then. We went down the road. They've got Gillette Soccer Saturday on, sitting there drinking the same drink, but £2 cheaper. 4-1. All right. Okay. Yeah, it's just a consolation goal. Still carry on drinking. 4-2. Should we go back? No, we do not go back to the pub. 4-3. Should we go back? No, we're staying here. And then when Toyota scored, we went absolutely ballistic. It was unbelievable. But yeah, I missed the whole comeback. But my favourite. Yeah, it did. Yeah. But my favourite game against Arsenal was at St James's Park, and it was when Peter Beardsley scored in the 89th minute to beat you 1-0 from 30 yards. I don't know if you can remember it or not, but it was a screamer. And that's when you had all the good old boys back in the day. I think that was 94, 95. And it was a cracking goal from 35 yards. Right in the 89th minute, and we absolutely peppered you that day as well. And I'm sure David Seaman was in goal.
No, wasn't the end of the season, was it? Was it not game at the end?
I can't quite remember what time of the season it was because it was that long ago. But I just remember Peter Beardsley picking the ball up and just unleashing a shot, and David Seaman couldn't get near it, and it flew in the top corner. It was beautiful, and we won 1-0. But we hammered you that day as well, and we should have had about 5, but David Seaman was on fire.
I remember Ginona scoring a scrap at St James's.
Yes.
Scoring an absolute marvellous goal against us. He went mad as well. Great
that
goal.
From the left, and you cut in and you went on. Yeah, I think I remember that one as well. Yeah.
Brilliant goal. Absolutely brilliant.
But I was there when Bergkamp scored that goal as well, and I stood up and applauded it at the time because it was just sensational. I was quite high up in the gods and the Melbourne stand when it happened, and I still think he elbowed Davi's ass. I still want a free kick, but
lucky no VAR,
it was pure. It was pure genius, that, and he definitely meant it. All these people coming out saying that he didn't mean to do it. Of course he did, and it was just unbelievable. That screwed our title hopes that season again.
Yeah, no, that was obviously that was a great goal. That definitely. We was up the other end, up in the away section, miles up in the air. So we didn't really get a bit at the time. But when you saw a replay of it, it was like, wow, that was something special. Yeah. And I do think he did mean it. If it had been any other player, you'd probably think, did he mean it or not? Because it's Dennis Bergkamp, I think, he was one player that would have done that on purpose, wouldn't he? He would have done it on purpose. But I agree. I think the VAR may well have disallowed that nowadays, which would have been a shame, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would have been a shame, wouldn't it? But it was definitely an elbow. But you could tell by Bergkamp's body shape how he turned. You could tell he meant it. It was just a finger beauty.
No,
I'll tell you my other favourite Arsenal goal very quickly, because this was another funny story. Actually, it was I'm sure it was New Year's Day, and like the pub was packed, and Arsenal were on the TV at the Emirates. It was when Giroud scored that scorpion kick. Literally, when he did it, I must have been the only one watching the TV at the time. There must have been 100 people in this bar, and I just went, ah! And then everyone went, oh, just wait till you see that. Everyone went, oh! It was brilliant. It was just the way that it happened. But what a goal that was!
Yeah, no, that
if you showed Giroud's kids clips of all his favourite goals, they would think he was Lionel Messi, wouldn't they?
Yeah. True. Yeah, no. The thing with Giroud, I think he was very underrated. Actually, I think he was a very good player. He had a great touch, great awareness, and he scored some great goals as well. I mean, obviously that one was probably the pick of them all, but he did score some good and important goals. Actually, he had quite a good record scoring against Newcastle. I seem to remember he seemed to score against Newcastle quite a lot, didn't he? But one of our players maybe did. But I remember he got two headers in one game, didn't he, at the St James's one year in the first half? Two very similar goals from corners, I think they were. But that's what he was good at. It's a player we could do with now, actually, a plan B, if you like, because we put quite a lot of balls into the box and nobody's there to get on the end of them, and he would have been on the end. He still probably could now because he's still been scoring.
That's what Chelsea do with them, don't they?
Yeah, and it's what a sort of player that we could do with now. Actually, I mean, you've got one on your bench as well, Andy Carroll, who hardly ever gets to play much, and he's got that option as well, isn't he? Why do you think he's not playing? Is it because he's not fit, or is it just Steve Bruce? Or
he's just not good enough now. His legs have gone. He likes to throw him on as a defender, doesn't he, to head the ball away or to cause havoc in the box in the last 5 minutes or 30 seconds or whatever he gets. But I just think his legs have gone, to be honest with you. He's just a body on the bench at the moment. A bit like Joe Linton when he plays most of the time.
he was a player. If I was Steve Bruce, I'd play him against us. He always scores against us. As old as he is, or slow as he is, you put a cross in, he'll probably score tomorrow against us. Or Sunday, sorry.
Yeah. He had a good record, didn't he, when every club he played for. In fact, he got the last winning goal for Newcastle at the Emirates, actually, in 2010.
It was a header,
yeah.
Chris Hughton was in charge, and I think that was his last game that he managed, unfortunately. He beat Sunderland 5-1, beat Arsenal 1-0 at the Emirates, and then got sacked, which was a strange, horrible decision. I'll never forgive Mike Ashley for that.
Yeah, that's certainly strange. When you look at some of the results that managers have got since and still keep their jobs, and he did a couple of good results there. But I was at that game at the Emirates, actually, when he scored that goal, Andy Carroll. So, yeah, he had a good record against us, West Ham, as well. Like, he's got a hat-trick against us with West Ham.
That's right, yeah. In a very short period of time, he's got a hat-trick.
Yeah, I think he might have come off the bench and scored a hat-trick, actually.
I think he did, actually, yeah.
Yeah, but he's one player.
He scored that bicycle kick against you lot.
Yeah, I think that was one of that hat-trick, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, he always scored against us. It just used to do my head in, actually. So I'm quite pleased he's not playing much for Newcastle, because no doubt he'll probably come on in the last minute on Sunday and score with his first touch. That's probably what happened.
I'll take that.
That's what he's done throughout his career against Arsenal for some reason. But anyway, I mean, sort of moving on to the game on Sunday. Then obviously, I mean, I was just saying this before actually on Paul's channel, the Toon Review, that I feel as though this game probably means more to Newcastle, because you know one more win and you're pretty much going to be safe, aren't you? So I think your motivation for this game is going to be far higher than ours, because it comes in between these two European games, which is more important to us. I think so, the team, the players and everybody. So I think it's maybe from your point of view, it's probably a good time for you to be playing us, actually, because I think that our mind's going to be elsewhere. We're not playing that well anyway. And, I think there's going to be a lot of rotation in the team. I mean, what are you thinking, Melvyn? Do you kind of think that this game is going to be quite low down on the priorities of everybody at Arsenal this weekend? Or do you think that there might be a few players who may be trying to say, look, give me a chance. I want to prove that I can come in and do a job maybe for Thursday?
I don't think that argument, Richard, about I'll show you what I can do to pick me, because he doesn't always pick the best players anyway. So they're better off playing poorly anyway. Might have more chance of getting in the team on Thursday. Because he does things you don't, you know what I mean? The good players don't seem to get picked, and the bad ones seem to still get in. So I think that argument's out the window. I think that Newcastle will probably beat us on the basis of that A, it means more to them, and B, we ain't good enough. I mean, there's two. We can't use that as an excuse. It might be a factor to a degree, but I don't think soon, yeah. Sorry about that. All right, don't worry. I'll be soon. Sorry about that.
Brilliant.
Where I lost my train of thought against that. No, I think that we're not good enough. We're not playing well. I know that every so often, we have a good result, so try and forget about the bad results we've had. But I don't think we just confidence. You think about the last 3 games, Richard. The last 3 games we've played. We've been absolutely poor in all of them. The Fulham game, the Everton game, and on Thursday, those 3 games, is ex-certificate as far as I'm concerned. And I don't like ranting about Arsenal. I love the Arsenal. I love the club. I love everything about it. But I just can't get the enthusiasm going. And it's not because we're getting beat. It's how we're getting beat. You know, I've watched teams for a long, long time over the career of the Arsenal. I've been watching for years and years and years. And we've had very poor teams. We've had poor results. We've had this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, I believe that the players who wear the shirt are kicking the ball in the same direction as the fans. It doesn't seem to be with us at the moment. That's the case. How can you have a first half performance in the most important game of the season last night like that? Something about someone said, "Oh, we learn by our mistakes." No, you don't learn by your mistakes. You shouldn't have that. You should have known that anyway. Listen, I don't need to know that I've got to cross a road with my eyes shut and I'll get run over. I know that. All right, I don't have to test it first. Don't give those poor performances and say that you're going to learn by it. No, you should know. You're a professional footballer. You get, you wear the shirt. Even if you don't love the club, you wear the shirt. You should be 100% and concentrating. And I put out today, why is it we seem to attract defenders that've got no concentration? I agree they're probably coached badly. You might say it could be. But at the end of the day, how do these defenders get through all the different hoops to become a professional footballer in the top league? I mean, the Arsenal and all the other clubs, Newcastle, Everton, and all that, they get them at schoolboy level. They then get them at youth level. Then they go through to the reserves. And all this time, they've got a million eyes on them. Every time they touch the ball in the training and the games they play, they are being watched. Any mistake they made, they pick it up. The coach is going, "Oh, look at that. He's not for us. He's not for us." It's like going through a filter. Out of these boys who get to the top, beat everybody else, cannot concentrate for 90 minutes. Can't concentrate for 45 minutes because it's the first half they couldn't concentrate. To me, it's baffling. You know what I mean? I've played with people at school who are unbelievable footballers, right? They didn't make it for whatever reason, but unbelievable footballers. Jerome's played in leagues where I've seen other footballers, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, this kid was 16, 17. Why isn't he playing or under the auspices of a big club? No club, not even a second, third division club, nothing. And yet you're getting better than going top, and they still make stupid errors. It's like watching Hackney Marshes players. I'm disrespecting them, I'm sorry, but I played over Hackney Marshes. I'm telling you, when I played, we concentrated. We probably weren't very good, but we managed to concentrate for 90 minutes. Our boys, our defence, especially from a corner, you shouldn't have to concentrate from a corner because you know it's dangerous. The alarm bell should be going off in your head. It's a corner, boys. Perhaps we should concentrate a little bit more. 99% most of the game. Let's try 100% for this corner. No, let's just watch it go over our heads. It just drives me mad. It really does. And so, anyway, that's why I feel. It just, also, I love the club. It's been in my emotion. It's taken up my time, my emotion. It's used to be the last thing I think about before I go to bed. The first thing I wake. We used to get beat on a Saturday. Sunday morning, I wake up, and the first thing I'm thinking about is, oh, we got beat. Oh my God, we got beat. Nowadays, I wake up and I'm thinking, what's for breakfast? It's a bit like that. Anyway,
I agree. I must admit, I do feel as though certainly the last year or so, I think I personally have felt a lot more detached from it all. I mean, I know obviously, Bazza, you said you kind of wasn't going to games before because of your reasons that you said about Benitez. Do you feel more detached from the club now, emotionally maybe, than you did perhaps before when you were going to games more regularly and when fans were in the stadiums and when things were sort of normal, if you like? Did you feel more detached from it now?
God, it's been 14 years for us, though, hasn't it? This is the thing. I mean, I've been attached, unattached, attached, unattached. When Bruce got this second season, I started my channel to actually keep me interested in the game. That's how low it got for me, because I just thought we're just going to be fighting relegation again. We never wanted Steve Bruce from the start. I never did. I know a lot of other fans didn't. He's a championship manager at best. And I just literally stopped caring. I work with a lot of Leeds fans, Man United fans, Liverpool fans. I've even got an Arsenal fan at work as well. And they just took the mick, and I used to just say, "What? I don't follow football anymore. I'm a cricket fan." So that's how bad it got. And I started getting more back into it, doing my channel and forcing myself to fall back in love with Newcastle, which you shouldn't have to do. It should just be something that you've always loved, which I have. But to find a reason to watch them was very weird feeling, very strange, thinking, well, I've got to watch the game, otherwise I can't do my channel. It shouldn't be that way. It should be, yes, I'm watching the game and I'm going to be doing my channel afterwards and talking about what's going on with the game. And it's just, it's horrible at the moment. It really is. I do feel for you a little bit, but I can't feel for you as much as what we've gone through for so long. You're just joining the party in my eyes. We've been passed out in the corner drunk with a bottle of whiskey and now you're walking through the door going party time when it comes to these bad owners, and we're just there going, oh, take a seat, mate.
No, you're right. And I think maybe, we've perhaps been spoiled as Arsenal fans over the years with the success that we've seen and the great teams that we've had, and now it's more of a reality check now. This is more normal for most clubs, probably what we're going through at the moment. It's just what most clubs go through the whole time. Like you said, what you guys have been through for years. And, I suppose it's maybe in 10 years' time, if we're still in the same situation, we'd have got used to it by then. And we'll just think, well, if we win a game, it's great. And if we lose a game, it's normal. And maybe we'll feel like that eventually. But it's that transitional period that maybe we're about to get into now. Hopefully it won't last very long, but who knows? But no, I mean, I've become detached. And I agree with you about the channel, actually. There's been a lot of games this season in particular where I don't think if I was doing a watch-along or I hadn't planned to do a watch-along on the channel, I wouldn't have watched it. And it's almost forced me to watch the game. And that's probably why sometimes I'll set up a watch-along, because it means I've got to watch the game. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't watch it. I'd find something else to do, because it's 90 minutes of your life that you just don't get back. And it's been painful this season, a lot of the games, So, yeah, I mean, and like you said, I feel bad even talking about it, because like you said, you've experienced this for, many years, and we've only just had it for a few years. So, but it's definitely how I feel now, and it's getting more and more each week, and I'm losing more and more kind of connection with it. And I think the whole thing with VAR as well, and just everything that's going on in football at the minute, the European Super League thing kind of tops it off for me. And it's like the enjoyment of football for me has gone. And I've actually got more and more into the women's game for the reason that there's no VAR, it's more real, and I've been enjoying that more, actually. I've got to be honest. And on Sunday, funnily enough, the Arsenal women are playing at the same time as the Arsenal Newcastle game at 2:00 on Sunday. Arsenal women are playing the second from last game, and if they win, they'll pretty much guarantee Champions League football next season. So I'm actually going to have both games on at the same time and do watch-alongs of both of them. Probably more bothered about the women's game, if I'm honest, because I just feel that we're not going to be bothered about the Newcastle game much as a club. So, but we'll see. I mean, see what the team lineup's like. I mean, I know Callum Wilson's supposed to be fit now, isn't he, as well, which is good news for us, obviously.
Yes. Very, very happy that man is back. Without his goals, we don't win football matches. It's as simple as that. And it's not just his goals, though. If you watch Joe Linton and then you watch Wilson and you watch the movement, Joe Linton doesn't have it. Wilson has it in abundance. If you watch the intricate little runs down the channels he makes to make space for other people, he gets himself in between defenders rather than up tight against a defender like Joe Linton does. And it just gives you that little bit of extra awareness of what's going on the football field. He's a top striker, he really is, and we were very lucky he didn't go to Villa. If he went to Villa, our season would have ended already, because 13 14 goals he's got this year. Without that, we're down, and we would have been down last year without them as well. So he's a top striker in my eyes. He really is.
No, he is, without a shadow of a doubt. He's a great player, and he scored a couple of goals against us as well for Bournemouth previously. So it's not good news for us that he's fit from that point of view, because I'm sure that he'll be itching to get back into it, having missed a few games as well. And he made an impact last week. Then he had that goal disallowed, as we said, against Liverpool. So I'm sure he'll be well up for getting a goal or two. Shane says, so Bazza said, obviously, you like Rafa Benitez. Do you think he could have got us at Arsenal into Europe with our squad?
Yes. I think he's that good of a manager. He finds a way of winning football matches. If you look at our squad that came up from the Championship, and he spent 2 years in the Premier League with a Championship squad and got us mid-table, can you imagine what he could have done with the likes of Aubameyang and Lacazette and all them lot? So, easily. I think he'll be playing European football, definitely. Champions League, probably finish 4th or 3rd, definitely.
No, I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that. And you know, a lot of Arsenal fans have been putting a lot of the blame this season on the players, actually, saying the players aren't good enough, and some of them clearly aren't. I don't think there's any question about that. But I believe that with a decent manager who knows what they're doing, we would have performed a lot better this season. The results would have been better. And Rafa Benitez is a top manager. There's no doubt. You know what he's achieved in his career. He's second to none, isn't it? And I would have loved, well, I still would actually. I'll take Rafa Benitez over Arteta every single day of the week without a shadow of a doubt of even thinking about it. I just think he's a quality manager, and I believe he could get a lot more out of this group of players that we've got. And I don't know about third or fourth. I mean, that'd be great. I'd certainly feel that we'd be challenging in the top 6 and challenging for the top 4 this season with him. And you never know, the way the season's gone, anything's possible, I guess. But yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. I think he would have done a much better job for us. He would have been a good fit, actually. And you never know, maybe next year he might come back. Who knows? Come to Arsenal, whatever. If he can bring St. Maximin with him as well, that'd be really nice as well. Maybe we can swap with Joe Willett. We can just do a swap with Joe Willett. That's fine. I don't mind. That's a pretty good deal.
But you do know that Rafa didn't actually want ASM to join Newcastle, the same as Joel Linton. So that would be a bit of a strange one in my eyes. So apparently, because of ASM's trouble at his old club, he was a bit of a maverick. Benitez didn't fancy him, so we're only seeing him because Benitez left. So it's a double-edged sword with that one. It really is.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't realise that actually. That would be quite interesting. Yeah. I mean, I know similar situation was it. Unai Emery didn't want Nicolas Pepe either, did he? And that didn't really work out. So I guess it's important that a manager has a good relationship with the players, you know, to get the players that they want, I suppose. So, but I think I'd probably take Rafa Benitez over getting St. Maximin. I think for the long-term benefit of the club, possibly. But anyway, I don't suppose that's really on the cards if we're honest. Is it? Let's be honest. I can't see Benitez as much as I'd like him. Is he actually still in China, or did he leave? Is he still there?
He left. No, he terminated his contract, so he's actually a free agent at the moment. So he's waiting for a project, and if Arsenal are looking for a new manager, then he would definitely consider it.
Melvin, get on the phone to Kroenke. Get on the phone. Rafa's available.
I'm just charging my phone up now as you talk. Richard, I've got to make a move now.
Yeah, no.
Right.
Just before you go, Melvin, what's your score prediction for Sunday, if you're bothered?
I think we get beat 2-0.
Wow, okay.
Ooh.
That's pretty.
I'm sorry to say that. I hate to be negative.
No.
Got to be honest. Bazza, lovely to meet you, mate. Met some really nice Newcastle forward this year, haven't we, Richard? Some great Newcastle forwards this year. Very good. Right, and I'll speak to you soon. Keep well.
Yeah, cheers, Melvin.
Thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Cheers, Melvin. That's Melvin, of course, who's always a regular on our channel anyway. He'll be back very soon. He's got his hands full tonight with grandchildren and stuff like that, as you can hear. So, Bazza, what are you thinking Sunday? What's your sort of prediction in terms of the squad? Are you quite confident? I mean, if ever there was a time for you to beat us, it's probably this weekend, isn't it, to be honest?
Yeah, this is the first time in a very long time that I'm actually confident with 3 points at this weekend, even against the likes of West Ham, against Spurs, against Liverpool. I said, look, I'd take a point, I'll snap your hand off for them, and we ended up getting points and beating West Ham. So for some reason, I don't know why, I always targeted Arsenal at home because of your European action. That's the way I saw it. Being right in the middle of a semi-final was crucial for us. So it took your thoughts elsewhere. And I've gone for a very thrilling 3-2 win to Newcastle because there's always goals, isn't there? And Newcastle don't keep clean sheets. So I think it'll be a thriller. I think it'll be 3-2.
Well, it'd be a good game. I mean, funny enough, the last time you beat us, that was also between 2 European games for us as well. I think it was a quarter-final then, 2018. And that was the last time that you beat us. We actually played quite a strong team that day. Aubameyang, Lacazette played. I think Lacazette scored our goal, actually. But so, yeah, I do think it's definitely massively in your favour that when the time of this game probably hasn't done us any favours. And also, as well, the fact that it means more to you as a club to win this game.
Yeah.
You know, if we win or we lose, it's not really going to make a lot of difference to our season in terms of the Premier League. It might mean we finish one place higher, and if we lose, it might mean we finish one place lower, but it's not the end of the world. Whereas for you guys, if you win, that's virtually guaranteed mathematically and everything. Safety, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, I mean, for you lot, it's a dead rubber, isn't it? Really, I mean, you can't really go any lower or any higher too much if you win the rest of your games because the teams above you are going to carry on winning as well. So for us, 3 points, it is guaranteed 100% safety in my eyes. I still think we're safe anyway. But I think 3
Yeah.
points against you lot on Sunday will just put that nail in all the coffins below us. It'll put Southampton in trouble, Burnley in trouble, and Brighton in trouble. So for some strange reason, I'm really positive and happy about watching the game on Sunday, which is I've not felt like this in a long time. So cue a 5-0 defeat.
Oh, well, it's definitely not going to be a 5-0 defeat for you guys. I can virtually guarantee that the way we've been playing. And I say, as we've mentioned, I think our focus is elsewhere this week, which, is understandable. And I would certainly take a defeat on Sunday if it means on Thursday we get the right result that we need to go through to the final. So, and I think most people at Arsenal would probably feel the same. So I wouldn't necessarily say it's a dead rubber. I don't think a dead rubber exists in the world of Arsenal. I think Arsenal are a big enough club not to, we should be trying to win every single game that we play regardless. And, but I do feel as though our focus is going to be elsewhere this week. And I'm not sure it's going to be 3-2. I mean, in my preview video, I predicted 2-1 to Newcastle. And I do feel that you'll win just because of, one, you're in decent form at the minute. You're winning games. I know Joe Willocksby's got a lot of goals and he can't play, which is going to be... How do you think you'll kind of replace his goals? Because obviously the last 2 or 3 games he's come on and got a goal. He's obviously not going to be able to play Sunday, is he? How do you think you're going to replace that then? If you're going to win 3-2, who's going to get your goals? I suppose Wilson.
Oh, Wilson, Sir Maximum, Almiron, they're all due a goal. It would be nice to have Willock to call on, but he doesn't want to be known as a super sub, does he? So, I mean, he'll put Matty on the bench, and Matty's got a goal in him. He scored his debut goal against Man United, which was a cracking strike all those years ago. He needs more game time in my eyes. Elliot Anderson, I would love to see him be on the bench and maybe come on. He played against Hughes in the FA Cup and he had a great game.
Yeah. Looked a good player.
Yeah, exactly. Why isn't he in the squad all the time? This whole... I don't know if you've ever seen my breaking news, but I reeled off about, the possibility of 18 players moving or getting contracts and stuff like this. And Elliot Anderson was one of them for me. They should have sent out on loan at the start of this season. They didn't, but they're apparently going to send him out on loan next season, which is a big shame because I think he's got a big future for our club and I want to see him in the Premier League, not in the Championship or League One. So, but yeah, the goals for us, it's always been the front three. About a month ago, I used to say to everyone, we need our centre-back scoring goals again because that's how we're going to nick points 1-0 or something like that. So you never know. Just Fernandez is back. He might nick a goal forward. You've got Matt Ritchie on the left wing as well, and Murphy right wing back as well. He's capable of scoring goals. He's proved in the last few games as well. So there's goals everywhere around the team. It's just getting them in the right place at the right time.
I mean, I think Matt Ritchie scored the winner actually last time you beat us, didn't he? That game I mentioned before. I think Matt Ritchie scored in that game. So I did hear there maybe a doubt he might not be fit. Actually, he's got a little bit of an injury, Matt Ritchie.
Oh, right.
So I mean, that'd be
maybe good
to fair point. I've always liked Matt Ritchie. I think he's a good player, actually. He's a decent Premier League player. He gives 100% as well. Is Hayden fit? Isaac Hayden? Because he obviously used to play for us, didn't he?
He's done for the season, unfortunately. He picked up a really bad knee injury. I don't know if you saw it, but he turned and a player fell on his leg and it got caught. And that's his season's finished.
Oh, that's a shame. Because
that was against Brighton, I think. That was against Brighton.
Oh, was it the Brighton game? Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know he's...
someone fell on him.
He's a decent player, actually, Hayden, isn't he? Isaac Hayden. He's a solid, steady player, and he's probably one of the more consistent performers for Newcastle that he's been, isn't he? So, obviously that's a big loss, I suppose. But like you said, the results have picked up anyway. So I guess you've sort of made to compensate without him, really. But yeah, I mean, Matt Ritchie's a good player. I like him. I've always liked Matt Ritchie. I think he's a really good player, 100% player, isn't he? Great player to have. And that's something that Terry mentions there, actually. He says, don't you think that the least a player should put in is 100% effort even when they don't play well? Well, exactly. That's the minimum you'd expect. And that's been a criticism I've had of Aubameyang, actually, is that when he doesn't play well, he doesn't seem to try. And there's no... You can't forgive it. You can forgive a player not playing well because everyone has a bad game. Some players have 3 or 4 bad games in a row. But if they try and I give 100% and put the effort in, you can't really criticise them, can you? And Shane says, don't worry, Bazzy says, we will give Newcastle a goal. We've been consistent in giving goals away there. That's true, definitely. And I'd actually wouldn't be surprised, like you said, maybe one of the centre backs. I think our defending from set pieces has been poor. We conceded a terrible goal last night, so I wouldn't be surprised if maybe you might score from a corner, one of your centre backs. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens.
We've got 3 of them playing, so there's
exactly.
a good chance.
Exactly, yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that. So yeah, maybe it could be 3-2 then. Perhaps I can't see us scoring 2 though, if I'm totally honest, the way we've been playing. But who knows? Depends on the team lineup. I'll say I can't predict what Arteta's going to pick for this game. He's either going to rest loads and loads of players, and you won't recognise half the team, or he'll keep the regular players playing like he has done to try and maybe restore a bit of confidence before Thursday. That could be the way you might look at it. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, it's an inconvenience, this game, I think, for us actually at the moment, coming when it does. You know, I'm sure we could have postponed it and played it like another time, played it midweek, the week after or something like that. You know, I'm sure we could have fit it in somewhere. It seems a bit of an inconvenience. It'll be the first game, actually, the first Newcastle away game I've not been able to go to for years.
Oh, no.
Absolute years. I can't remember last time I wasn't at one, so I'm going to be disappointed not to be there. But anyway, I'm sure it'll be good fun. And if it does finish 3-2, it'll certainly be a decent game to watch, I suppose. Terry says, obviously, referring to Shane's comment about Mike Dean, he says, and VAR 2-0 start. Well, I don't know. We've not had much joy with VAR this season, actually. We haven't. But anyway, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, it might go in our favour. It did go in our favour last night, that penalty. I know you missed it, but we got a very soft penalty last night, actually. VAR didn't overturn. The referee gave it. I saw a replay of it and thought it's one of them ones where the forward player leaves his foot onto the defender and falls over. You know, Harry Kane does it a lot. Mo Salah does it a lot. That kind of thing. That's what Bukayo Saka does. You know, he's not a diver usually, but he did. He left his leg in, dangled his leg, and fell over. Yeah. The ref gave it a penalty. And when I saw the replay, I'm thinking VAR will overturn that. But it didn't, and we got it, and we scored, and it's an important goal. So, but one thing did go our way finally, which is nice. Just before we finish up, I'll just give your channel a plug because I know obviously you do some different stuff in there as well. It's not just football, is it?
Yeah. So it's Bazza Ts NUFC. I also do a mental health show on there as well. So I do suffer from anxiety, and I've done, and I was kind of forced to open up on Paul's show. He decided to drop me in it and went, "Do you want to talk about it?" I was like, "What? Talk about what? Thanks, mate. Cheers." So yeah, I talked about it. Got some, lovely DMs the next day saying, "Thanks for this. I do suffer from this as well," and blah blah blah. And because of that, the show was born. So it's called Breaking Down Walls. I basically get guests on who have been through some stuff. It's hard to talk about, but if they've been through it and got to the other side and they're able to talk about it, it hopefully gives other people out there who are afraid to open up, get rid of that stigma around the male mental health especially. It's just trying to give people confidence to say, look, we're all in the same boat at times and we're all here to fish you out if you go overboard. So, yeah. And normal Newcastle stuff as well, which probably everyone's seeing. There's so many Newcastle channels, so I do try and be a little bit different. I do a breaking news because I've got a bit of a source who gives me some information every now and again. And you're coming on tomorrow night to do my look. I call mine the look ahead to the Arsenal game. So we're going to talk about it a little bit differently to how it's been done tonight. So it's good that we're not going to be covering the same stuff. Yeah, and there's some other shows on there. If you want to have a look, guys, have a look. It'll be great. I always want to talk to other fans as well because it gets a bit boring just talking about Newcastle. And, it's the same stuff for most of our fans. We all want the same thing at the moment. So it's nice to speak to Arsenal fans and met some lovely Tottenham fans, West Ham fans, Burnley fans, surprisingly. Bristol City fan always on the show. It's great to talk to other people and get other perspectives because we always have blinkers on, don't we? And it's nice to have someone just bring you down to earth, doesn't it?
I mean, one of the great things, actually, I mean, I only started the channel this season, like yourself. So one of the great things for me this season has been having the fans of the other clubs coming on the channel. There's been some great people that I've met through this from all the other clubs that we've played, and it's been great. And one thing that's come clear to me is that most football fans from whatever club you support, we're all the same ultimately. We want our club to do well. We want our club to win games, and we're frustrated when it doesn't happen. And we don't like the managers after time. We don't like the owners, you know. And we've all got the same. We don't like VAR. We think everyone's against us, and we're all very similar, aren't we? At the end of the day, and I know we have rivalries and stuff like that. You know, you mentioned obviously Tottenham fans before. You know, we have. I mean, I've had some great Tottenham fans on the channel as well. So you know, and it is good because you do get a different perspective, but also you realise actually that everybody's in the same boat. Unless you support Man City, maybe at the moment, they've got different problems, haven't they? They've got how many goals they're going to win by every week. You know, they've got slightly different issues, but everybody else seems to have pretty much the same issues. You know, we're all worried about the price of the players get paid and everything. We all care for the same things, don't we? And it's good when you all kind of get together and like you said, it's a bit different hearing other clubs' perspectives on stuff as well, which is always nice. And that's been probably the biggest positive for me this season, because it's been a bad season. I mean, I know it's been a bad season for you guys. I know how much you know, obviously I've been in contact with a lot of you guys on your channels and stuff, and I know what a terrible season that it's been for you guys, and it has been for us as well. And one of the best things about it has been doing shows like this, and you know, going on to other club shows as well, like I'm going on yours tomorrow and stuff like that. And that's what it's been about for me, and that's made this season, it's given this season some sort of meaning actually, when I don't think it would have had otherwise. If I hadn't started the channel, I hadn't done all this, I would have lost interest a long time ago. And this has kind of kept it going. This has given it something, given it some meaning really, which is great. Terry says, yeah, great show, chaps. Hope to see you again. Bazzy says, many thanks, Richard, and all in the chat. Yeah, I'm on Bazza's channel tomorrow, Terry. There's a link in the description on the video. So is that 8 o'clock tomorrow? Is that right? Have I got that right? Or is it
8:15? Because it gives me 15 extra minutes from getting home from work.
8:15, yeah. So that'll be 8:15 tomorrow. So the link to the channel is in the description there. So check that out tomorrow if you can. And Shane says, yeah, fair play, Bazza. Top by, best luck rest of the season. Great stream. Take care. Take care, Terry. No, thanks, Shane, again. I say you're always in the chat, always good for your support of the channel as well. So, yeah, I mean, brilliant. I say thanks to Baz, obviously, for coming on tonight. Melvyn, of course, before he's had to obviously shoot off a little bit earlier. And I say, obviously, we'll be speaking again tomorrow anyway, won't we? So,
yeah, we will.
Looking forward to that. That's going to be good fun. And yeah, I'll say thanks for coming on. I say the link to the channel is in the description of this video, so make sure you check that out as well. Don't just watch the show tomorrow, obviously watch it tomorrow, but also check out the other shows on there as well. I say the mental health one in particular, that's really good thing that you're doing there, because like you said, maybe not enough has been spoken about it, has it really? And doing something like this on YouTube, I think it's a great thing that you're doing, and you know, it's really good. So definitely get behind that as well, everyone. So yeah, it's going to be a good game on Sunday, I'm sure. I'm going to be doing 2 watch-alongs, the Arsenal-Newcastle game and also the Arsenal women against Everton at the same time. So I'll have both of them on. So that's going to be quite good. So tune in for that if you can on Sunday. I've got a preview video coming out of Newcastle game tomorrow morning. I've recorded it already. It's going out tomorrow, but don't really worry too much about that, because it's only a meaningless game that doesn't mean anything to us. And Newcastle might well win 5-0, and that'll be good. But I mean, it's good actually, because I want Newcastle to stay up. Always have done, because you're a big club. You should be in the Premier League. That's what it's about for me. So as much as it would pay me to lose another game, I'm not. I've got to be honest. I wouldn't be that upset if we lose on Sunday. Really, not compared to how upset I was last night, and how upset I'll be on Thursday if we lose again. So if we can lose to any game, this is one I can probably take without losing too much sleep over it. So, but we'll see what happens. If we win, it'll be great, and I'll be happy. But especially if it.
Come on, Richard, hold up. The only reason why you want us to stay in the Premier League is because you love the away day. You love going to that ground, and you love the beer around it, don't you? That's the reason why.
I do. I'm not going to lie. That is definitely the reason. It's the best away day of the season for me. Without a doubt, I love it. So it's just a shame the away fans have to be so far up. I don't know why we can't be lower down behind the goal. I don't know why. Why can that not happen at St James? Is there a reason why the away fans have to be 50 miles up in the sky?
Safety, maybe. It's one of the reasons why. You have Toon fans above you, might get a little bit rowdy. And again, the better seats are lower down, aren't they? So they're going to punish the away team, get you high up, so the players can't hear you and drown you out.
No, I mean, I get it, but there was, I remember it was a League Cup game about 10 years ago. We won 4-0, actually. I don't know if you remember that. And the away section that day was sort of in the corner where the corner flag is, but sort of a bit further up. And Arsenal had that section there, and it was a much better place for the away fans to be. I loved that game just because the view was better, the atmosphere was better, you were lower down, and it was great. And they did it for that one game. I think maybe there was more tickets because it was a cup game, perhaps. I don't know if that was the reason. I don't know why they can't do that for the Premier League games, because I don't think there was really a safety issue. It didn't seem to be. It was in the corner. It seemed great, and I say I'd quite like the away end to be moved to there on a permanent basis. Actually, I think the atmosphere would be better in the stadium, because I think when home fans or away fans are quite close together, you generally get a better atmosphere in that section of the ground, don't you?
Yeah.
I always
get a bit of banter.
Yeah, it's better, isn't it? I mean, I used to have a season ticket on the clock end at Highbury, and mine was right near where the away fans were, 3 or 4 seats away. And yeah, sometimes it got a little bit, when we played Tottenham or Chelsea, it could get a bit naughty, but equally it was great banter as well. And it was, when they scored, they'd all rub it in our faces, and when we scored, we did the same. So I kind of think it adds to the atmosphere a little bit. I'd love to see Newcastle move the away section. Other than that, it is a great away day. It's a great stadium. It's a great place to watch football. It's just a shame that the away fans are so. I just don't like it up there. I remember there was a last game of the season we played you, and we needed to win to beat Tottenham for the top 4. And we won 1-0 because Koscielny scored. I don't know if you remember it, probably 5 or 6 years ago.
I do, yeah.
And the goal that Koscielny scored was actually up the other end in front of the Gallagher end. So obviously it was miles away from where we were. But that's the sort of game where you need to win, and you want that goal to be scored right in front of where you are, so the players can come over and celebrate with the fans. That's what you want it to be, don't you? And I know it was great that we won and we scored, but it was so far away, you felt a little bit detached from it, really, and it kind of ruined it slightly for me. But that's just the way it is, I suppose. You just accept it at Newcastle, don't you? That's where you are. But yeah, I wonder if there was any particular reason why because it never used to be there, did it? I can remember it used to be. They used to be round the side more, didn't it? Years ago.
Yeah,
the away section.
Yeah, there was before the stand was built on. You used to be in where you are now, but move right down into the side corner. Then they decided, when obviously they built the stadium and that, they put you in the corner, and then they've put you in the top thing. And I just think it is for crowd control. That's the only reason why. I remember there was a game we played against Leeds in the Championship, and they got some extra tickets to obviously fill the ground a bit more. I mean, there was no need for them to get extra tickets because we could have sold them ourselves that game. But there was quite a lot of trouble because technically it was our derby, because Sunderland were nowhere near us and that. And there was one Leeds fan decided to punch a female steward, and then he got a good kicking in the ground from the stewards for being an idiot. But yeah, I think that's the reason why. And I know it's not every fan is like that. It's probably 1 out of 100. You look at it, but it's a lot easier to police if they're all in one section, and if you put you in your corner, you've got Newcastle fans either side of you. If you put in the corner where you are now, they've only got one section to police it. So I honestly believe that's the reason why. And it is also to give us the advantage of the fans as well. So, Mike Ashley might be a crap owner, but he's clever as well at the same time. All the people who run the club and run that are seeing that and said that's a disadvantage. So get them up there.
Maybe that's part. I mean, I can remember back in the 1980s. I mean, when Newcastle were in the first division back then, and I came up to St James's a couple of times, and we used to be standing behind the goal actually at that same end of the stadium, wasn't it? And it was quite a dangerous away day that Newcastle used to be back in the 80s. It was quite a dangerous one, It was you did well to get home in one piece after coming out of Newcastle back then. And that away section wasn't the safest place to be actually. So it is a lot safer now. That's definitely true. But it's lost a little bit of atmosphere. It used to be pretty good there. I remember Charlie Nicholas scored a couple of goals after we won 3-1 one game at St James's, and Charlie Nicholas scored a couple of goals, but it was quite naughty that day after the game and before the game actually as well. And getting back to the station afterwards used to be quite fun. Newcastle back in the 80s, that used to be quite a mission to get back. If you got back to the station in one piece, you thought, "Oh, thank God for that, I've made it." But always all part of the fun, I suppose, in them days, wasn't it? I think it's changed, hasn't it? Because I think Newcastle used to have a quite a rowdy kind of fan base, didn't they? To be fair, and they still probably do actually, but it's probably been watered down with the stadium and stuff like that, like it has at most clubs, I suppose. But That used to be one of the
CCTV and surveillance and the
Yeah,
police and
yeah,
all that
that's
sort of
true.
stuff. I mean, we did punch a horse, so you know,
Yeah,
we
that's true,
have tried
actually,
to bring it back.
Yeah, well,
My
maybe so.
God.
Yeah, but I know back in the 80s, Middlesbrough was another kind of
Yeah.
very, very dodgy place to go. Middlesbrough was. That's probably one of the worst away games I've ever been to. Actually, Middlesbrough, it's scary. That used to be Ayresome
Still
Park.
dodgy now.
Well, yeah, I suppose it's probably is. I mean, we've not played them much lately, obviously, because they've not been in the Premier League. But yeah, I suppose it is. But it's nowhere near.
Fans fighting. It's just a dodgy area.
Oh no, it is. Yeah,
it's not
well, where Ayresome Park was, I mean, that was a really dodgy area, wasn't it? I suppose now it's not so bad by the river, but yeah, Ayresome. But that was the scariest away I think I've ever been to at Ayresome Park. That's right. They were throwing darts into the away fans and stuff like that. So that was that wasn't much fun, and I think they beat us as well, which made it even worse. But anyway, but yeah, Newcastle.
My dad said the worst away game he ever went to was Pompey. Portsmouth back in the day. Probably that was very, very dodgy as well.
I've only been to Portsmouth once, actually. That was long time ago. That was in the 80s, late 80s. It actually wasn't too bad, but I've heard some stories about Portsmouth back in the day. Obviously, it's all dockers, isn't it? So they're hard as nails, them lot, aren't they? So you don't want to mess with them. It's probably not a good idea. But I've heard a few stories from Portsmouth back in the day, but I've only been there once, and it was not too bad. I survived anyway, so it couldn't have been that bad. But no, I mean, so that's the only complaint I've got about Newcastle, really, just where the away fans are. But hopefully one day they might move us back again somewhere nice, and we can maybe enjoy it a little bit more even. But yeah, hopefully next season.
It's good for banner if they do get moved. It would be nice. Yeah,
it would. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to be where I'd like to be is that little bit the lower tier behind the goal, right behind the goal in that lower tier section. I'd like to be there. That'd be great, but I don't suppose that'll ever happen. I don't think since Newcastle have had seats in we've never been behind the goal. I don't think away fans I can remember.
Not lower down, you're high up behind the goal.
We've been higher up.
That's where it is.
Higher up and around the side a little bit, yeah.
But again, it's less seats if you're lower down because you'll be in that middle section rather than the bottom section. So you actually get less seats as well. So that's another reason why you get that.
Could we not have a whole lot all the way along though? Would that not equal it out? It doesn't go back as far, does it? Because it's a narrower section.
No. I don't know. It's the Club 1892 bit as well, though. That's the thing. There's a certain season ticket to have in that kind of area because there's a bar on the back of it and all that sort of stuff as well. So it all depends on what you're allowed to have. So yeah.
Yeah, I guess I just really like that League Cup game a few years back. That was really good where we were there. I'd like to be there again, but anyway, maybe one day. Shane says, he said, Richard, on the roundabout outside the Emirates, there's a plaque to an Arsenal fan known as the Bear. Yeah, there is exactly. Supposedly protects Arsenal fans on away games. I mean, he was quite a character, shall we say? Yeah, and he obviously it's known as the Bear Roundabout outside the Emirates, and he actually died. Funnily enough, he was he ran security for the Pet Shop Boys, and he was while he was doing that job, he died. I'm sure he was a car accident or something in Spain or somewhere, and that was what he was doing. He was running the security for the Pet Shop Boys. But he used to be, I used to see him at games quite a lot. He was, he was a character, definitely. And you'd want to be next to him when it was all kicking off at Newcastle or Middlesbrough. You definitely you'd be safe.
Just hide under his coat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely. But he was a top lad actually. And I say he worked for the Pet Shop Boys as well. So there you go. So. And even people inside the club at Arsenal still talk about him now, and on the anniversary of his death and stuff, this stuff goes on the Arsenal website and things. So he was a big character in the club as well, and a proper Arsenal legend, him actually. So yeah, there is on the roundabout outside the Emirates. So if you're ever there, just outside where the Armory shop is, there's a roundabout there, and it's got his plaque on there for him. That's pretty good actually. That's a lot. It's a meeting place. Well, when there was that protest last week, that was one of the meeting places that people met at the roundabout. That's generally where people meet. If you're going to meet, so I've done it before. Get some tickets from someone. Where do you want to meet? I'll meet you at the Bear Roundabout, and everyone knows, and you just meet. It's kind of a meeting place with everyone, which is pretty cool. But yeah. But anyway, so thanks for coming on, Baz. Anyway, no problem at all. It's been great to speak to you. Obviously, we'll speak tomorrow as well. And so check out the channel as well. So I've got a link down there. And thanks for you guys in the chat as well, Shane and Terry, Joe, Gary, and a few others as well from earlier. Thanks for all you guys. Thanks to Melvyn as well, obviously, for coming on earlier. And I say he's always on the channel as well. And I say the next thing I've got on this channel live will be the watch along on Sunday which is I'm going to do the 2 games together. I'm going to attempt to do the women and the men at the same time. So I might get confused at some time and shout for the wrong goals, but I'll try to keep it up to date if I can. So I'm going to give that a go. I might have to watch one of the games on my phone actually, but I'll see how it goes. But I'm going to try and do that on Sunday. I'll go live about 1:45. Both games kick off at 2 o'clock. So tune into that if you can. And I say I will be on Bazza's channel tomorrow at 8:15 tomorrow night. So look out for that. That'll be good as well. Yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for your support. Please give it a like before you go and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. I know most of you have subscribed already that are in the chat. But if just in case you haven't, please do so. Gary says there, great show, Richard and Baz. Good luck tomorrow, but not too much. But it's Sunday, but yeah. To be honest, I'm not actually that fussed about the game on Sunday if we lose or not. I've got to be honest. I'd rather Arsenal women win and qualify for the Champions League. Newcastle beat us and stay up, and we win on Thursday and get to the final. Then it's a good week. Happy days. We can all celebrate. Good. Yeah, that'd be a good week, wouldn't it? So that happens.
It would.
But anyway, so thanks for tuning in, everyone. Please subscribe, please like, and I say tune in tomorrow night at 8:15, and I'll be back on Sunday. And in the meantime, of course, as always, come on, you Gunners, come on, let's do it. Cheers, Baz. Speak to you soon, mate. Take it easy
tomorrow.
Definitely.